So Treats With Lenise got started with a journal entry. So I actually stepped out of my culinary career and was an accountant for several years. And that kind of helped me throughout COVID because obviously the hospitality industry was shut down completely. And we moved to Georgia and I felt the Lord just tell me, I need you back in the food industry. And I said, no way. I said the food industry already is a very limited space where pay is not that great, right? But in a small town, like I was looking at like Indeed pricing and what people were offering. And I'm like, I was making that when I first got out of culinary school. Like, I don't want to go back to that. So I wrote in my journal and I said, Lord, I feel like you're telling me to go back into the food industry. I don't know what you're doing. I love making the money that I make as an accountant, but I'm feeling this void. Help me. So it started as a food blog. I started an Instagram page and I was like, what would I even call this thing? And I was just like throwing out random names, but I didn't want to be like a cheesy Christian name where it's like I pulled scripture and that's my food company, because I feel like when we are trying to share the gospel through our business, you have to first show yourself, right? Like Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ, right? So if I could get people to follow me, then they'll already see them following Christ. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be Cakes by Lenise or, something that expresses like, this is my artistry. So Treats with Lenise started. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that because it's not, this is what I'm doing. It's, hey, this is with me, like be with me. And so I just started, I was always cooking at home anyways. Even though I had stepped out of my culinary career, I was always catering, always making cakes. No matter where I went, food just always found me, right? Like I always had a side business going on with food. So I just started sharing. I was just like, okay, well, this is how you make a spinach dip, and this is how you make bread, and this is how you make this. And at first I felt like it was going nowhere. I was like, okay, I got 1 extra follower today. I got 2 extra followers this week. Like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Like, okay, I'll start a blog. Then I realized very quickly I don't like to write. So I was there like, all I got to say is put some spinach in this. I have nothing else to say. Like, I'm very good with punchlines, very bad at like novelty writing. So I was like, okay, but I was just being obedient. Skip hop ahead. I started making a bunch of treats to bring to a Bible study that I was a part of. And they would always say, you should open a bakery. You should open a bakery. Now I'm from South Florida. To open a bakery in South Florida will cost you your right arm, your left kidney, and maybe a toe. Like, it's expensive. And I was like, are you guys kidding me? I don't have 6 figures to throw at a bakery. And they're like, well, just consider it. So I just started doing a cottage license from home, started baking cakes, selling cupcakes, stuff like that. And then I got introduced to a local chef, started doing pop-ups out of her shop. I was selling out almost every single event that I was doing, and God just kind of grew it from there to the point where now we have our own space and we're growing again. I feel like every year he's like, okay, you stewarded this well, so now I'm gonna give you an increase. And every time he brings me the increase, I panic a little, and then he's like, no. Remember, I brought you from here, I'm gonna take you here. So it started as just a journal entry. Then it grew to a food blog, then it grew to a cottage business. Now we are a brick and mortar, and now we're going from a bakery to a bakery and restaurant.
Was there ever a point that you didn't think it was going to work out?
1,000%. There were plenty of times where I did not think that it was going to work out. There are plenty of times now that I'm just like, it's not going to work out. And then I have a corner in my bakery where I have yellow chairs. And one of those yellow chairs, whoever sits on that chair is highly anointed, because I pray all of my prayers in that chair. And I'm just like, God, I don't see what you're doing. And then he reminds me, you never have. You never have seen what I was doing. So all you have to do is be obedient, and I will take care of the rest. There were plenty of times that I was looking at the bank account, even when we got into our brick and mortar, I was ready to shut it down. I was just like, you know what, I'm also a private chef. So I was just gonna remain a private chef, shut down the bakery, and just move on with my life. I would have had more flexibility. It would have been a lot easier. It's more financial gain to be a private chef. But God would not let me close these doors. He was just like, nope, I have this for you. And I'm like, Lord, but I don't have the money for that. And he's like, yeah, but I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. Like, you don't have to worry about provision. I am the one that provides. And he has proven that time and time again.
Having the background in accounting and then the baking side, like one is very creative, one is very like logical and orderly. Like, how do you find those two, like those skill sets coincide, or do they at all?
1,000%. Okay, so I'll give you an additional testimony. So I graduated from culinary school in 2009, but I was also a first-time mom. I went into my freshman year of college. These were my days before Christ. I got pregnant 6 months into college, and a year later, I was a single mom. So I graduated and I went into my career, and this culinary career is very like, you marry the kitchen. If you want to grow in this industry, like, you have to show that you are willing to put hours and hours and hours in. And it's not the nicest work environment either. It's a male-dominated industry, and they talk to you like you're either another man or like you're a piece of meat. So I would go into these environments and I was just like, man, I love what I do. I love pastry. I went into the restaurant world of pastry where I was doing a lot of plated desserts. I absolutely adored it, but I missed my son's first steps. I missed my son's first words. I missed a lot of his baby time because I was chasing my career. So it just came to a point where it was just like, do you want this career or do you want to be a mom? And so, of course, I chose being a mom because my son was spending so much time with babysitters. Every single week, I was just like, can you watch my son? Can you watch my son? Can you watch my son? And then it just started to feel like, am I chasing the right thing? And even then, without even really knowing God the way that I know God now, I knew that chasing my career was not going to get me, my son, the attention that he needed from his mom. So I went back into the food service industry, but this time as front of the house. So I was a server, I was a bartender, because you have more flexibility and you can make fast cash. Being from South Florida, touristy area, like, you were always gonna make more money in the front of the house than you were in the back of the house, but I loved the back of the house. So I would just always take odd jobs, right? I had bartending job over here, serving job over there. I would do my baking business on the side, right? Like, I was still making cakes, still doing treats, still doing some kind of caterings, just so that I can spend time with my son. But as he got older and he was in public school, I had to mirror his schedule. And when you work in a restaurant, the best money is at night and on the weekends. So I'm still missing out on time with my son. So I remember having a very impactful conversation with my aunt. My aunt, man, the Lord has given her to me as just a beacon of light. When I was climbing on top of Fool's Hill, she was the one that was like, come on, baby, go ahead and go on the other side of Fool's Hill and let me give you some wisdom. So she was like, you need an office job. You need something that's gonna mirror his school, and you need something that's gonna give you time back with your son, but also stability. So she was just like, let's get you into bookkeeping. Taught me some skills, went on my first interview, got into bookkeeping, then grew that skill, learning how to do the books for certain companies. Then I actually realized I'm actually pretty good at this. Like, math is kind of my jam. And I do have like a very logical part of my mind that I think with. So then I just started growing that career. Became an accountant manager. And it was at the perfect timing because I ended up having a remote job. The company was in Wisconsin. I was living in Florida at the time, and then COVID hit. So if I had stayed in the hospitality industry, I would have been figuring out like, how are we gonna eat tonight, right? So the accounting, the firm that I worked for focused on startup companies. So I knew how to set up books from the beginning. I knew what importance was of a profit and loss statement. I knew how to get funding. I knew all of these things that startups need. And God wastes nothing. He wastes nothing in your life. Because after I got that journal entry, right, and I was just like, God, what are you telling me? What's going on? Because I was starting to feel discontent in my accounting career. I was making money and I was working from home. Like, people would think like that is a dream job. You're working from home. I could work anywhere, right? We were traveling and I was working. My husband was also, he's an accountant. So he was traveling and working. Like, it was what on the outside looked like greatness. But on the inside, I was like, Lord, I know this is not what you have for me. That accounting career set me up on how to have financial purpose in owning my business. There are a lot of chefs and a lot of people who want to do have a restaurant, have a bakery, but they don't have the business skill. So they have the creative skill and they make phenomenal products and their food is amazing, their treats are amazing, but they don't know how to balance a checkbook. They don't know how to look at their profit and loss and say, hey, I'm spending too much in supplies. So having both of these skills of the creativity where it's like, okay, I get to create things for people. I get to spend time with people in the saddest celebrations of their life, the happiest celebrations of their life, surprise moments in their life. I get to partner with them in that. And then I also get to look at all of the admin stuff and I have an understanding. So I'm not relying on a CPA to tell me what's going on. And I made a lot of CPA friends. So the CPA of our company right now is one of my closest friends. The accountant of my company is one of my closest friends. And my husband is still an accountant. So the numbers never get not looked at.
Yeah, I was going to say, the books must be so solid.
Oh my gosh, they are. They are.
That's such a great background too.
You know what? Even with my skills, my first year in business, I thought I could do it all. Because I'm an accountant, I'm a baker, I'm a chef, I'm an entrepreneur. I can just do it all because I couldn't afford to hire yet. And that was the biggest mistake, I think, in my business because what was the first thing that fell off? My books, because people want cakes and I need to be hands-on with that. And so it was until then that I was just like, oh, I have to loop in my tribe. Like, I don't have to do my books. I have accountant friends. Like, I can say, hey, I need help. Can you want to join my team? Do you want to help? And when I did that and realized that I didn't have to build my business by myself, that's when everything like took off.
So what do you think kept you from reaching out to them and saying, hey, I need help with this?
Being cheap. Just being honest, I started this business with $0 and I was just like, man, like every penny counted. Like for the first year of my business, I probably made 10 grand. I paid myself 10 grand. Like, think about that. I went from accounting, where I was making great money, to own my own business, to pay myself 10 grand. So I was just like penny pinching all over the place. But what I missed was that if I would stop penny pinching and I would have set that off, that wouldn't have been something I even thought about. And I could have focused on the money making aspect of my business and would have been able to probably hire a lot faster because I was delegating. What we were just talking about earlier, like delegation as a leader and as an entrepreneur is so important. And there's so many skill sets that you have to learn even from that, like having proper communication with your team, having the proper delegation, like who can handle what. Like maybe, person A is not really good at this one activity, but person B is. So guess what? Let person B own that and then find the task that person A is really good at. And now together they make you, so.
What were the biggest challenges you faced in those early days? Like if you had to pick 2 big challenges that you ran into?
So in the early days, the biggest challenges with Treats with Lenise was just not knowing what I didn't know. Not only that, being in a town that I'm not from, so I didn't know how to connect. I didn't know how to network. I felt a little undeserving because I was trying to put myself in a market where Forsythians, like they love their town and they should. Forsyth is amazing. And a lot of them have grown up together, right? So here comes me like, hey, I sell cakes. And it's like, yeah, so does these other people. Why should we go with you versus these other people? And not that I ever experienced something like that, but it was an insecurity that I had where it was like, what makes me so special to be able to give something to someone when they probably have family and friends that they can get this from, and they would probably want to support their family and friends over me. And that's where I was wrong. When God calls you to do something, He is the one that is opening the pathways. And when I first started Treats with Lenise, I was thinking, how can I replace my accounting income? And that was the wrong way to go about it. It should have never, when you start a business, your first thought cannot be money. It has to be purpose. It has to be mission. So once I started realizing that God did not bring this idea into my lap because I was going to become a millionaire and I was going to be able to, retire my husband, and that was not the reason. This was just a vessel to spread the gospel and to be the salt and the light in an area that needs salt and light.
So how has the business changed since it first started?
The business changes every single month. This business has changed so much since it started. So I love to make classical French desserts. That's one of my favorite things to do. However, we have morphed into being known for our cakes. So I have to give the public what they want, right? Like if I make a whole bunch of Napoleons or millefleuries or, all of these pastries and croissants and the town doesn't want it, then I need to pivot and figure out what it is that they want. When I first started, one of my first pop-ups was a cupcake pop-up, and we sold out before the end of our pop-up time. And I was like, great, we can just do cupcakes. Guess what? I did cupcakes again, and nobody cared about the cupcakes. They didn't care about the cupcakes. What I noticed about Forsyth is they love new. So every couple of weeks, we try to be like, hey, for this weekend only, you can only get, we did like a blueberry craze weekend. And my goodness, I could not keep blueberry cinnamon rolls inside the container. Like they just kept going. Guess what we had extra of this weekend? Blueberry cinnamon rolls. So I'm like, okay, you guys are over the blueberry stuff. I got to go back to the wheelhouse and say, okay, what is it that you guys want now? Everyone's really excited about us moving to the former Pickled Okra building. So I was like, great, we can start featuring one of our items, the croffle, because we're going to do like chicken and croffles when we go over there. And so we did a croffle weekend, and our pre-orders were crazy. I looked at the pre-orders and I was like, how do we have this many orders? So I said, I'm going to make double just in case we have a line through the door. We did not have a line through the door. The pre-orders went crazy, but the walk-ins didn't go crazy. So this kind of business, I said every month, but really it's an every week pivot. Like, how can I continue to maintain the attention of the town? How can I show the town that I care about what they suggest? Now, everybody's gonna come in here and say, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should do this. I mean, everybody has an opinion, and I also have to have enough discernment to say, is this just something that someone wants, or have 10 people told me this, and now this is something that I really need to consider? So it's a lot of paying attention to my customers. When I say we love our customers, we love our customers. A lot of our customers have become our friends. Like, you have become an ultimate VIP if you have my personal cell phone number. Everyone texts our business number, and it's so funny. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. They think it's my cell phone number, but they have no idea that sometimes it's Dakota responding to them. Sometimes it's Taj responding to them. Sometimes it's my husband responding to them. And they're like, hey, Lenise. And Doug's like, they think it's you. And he just goes in there. It's so funny. But a lot of people don't understand that when you text our business line, you're texting all of us, right? So, but when you get my personal cell phone number, you have become top of the chart customer. Like, you have become family to us. We have a customer that comes in. We call her Nana. Her name is Miss Judy. She has been one of our customers since day one, and she has literally become my grandmother. Like, every time she comes in here, we're all racing to the front door to see who can get to her first. She's the only customer that is on our wall of pictures. She called me personally to say, hey, I want croffles. Like, I could only accept that kind of behavior from her, because could you imagine if I did that for everybody? But like, we care so much about our customers, and they have become the focal point. So when they say, hey, Lenise, you really should consider this, we pivot. People started asking for breakfast. We started saying, wow, with our licensing, we can't offer breakfast because we're under the Georgia Department of Agriculture. We need a health department license, but this space is not certified for that yet. So we started looking into expanding. We have the most incredible landlords. God placed those people in our lives at the perfect time, because I started feeling like, again, the stirring in my spirit with the Lord was like, all right, I'm calling you to another leap of faith. And I'm like, where? Like, Lord, we're comfortable. Like, everything feels good. Boom! You're actually transforming into a restaurant. Surprise! And now the community is rallying again. You should consider this. You should consider that. So as the customers speak to us, we try to pivot. So therefore, we are morphing every single month, every single week sometimes, to be able to give our customers what they want. But also, we're in a competitive market where one TikTok video can go viral and that's it. Now, like, we have to keep up with that trend. I'm not one to keep up with trends. I'm kind of rebellious when it comes to the food industry. I don't want to be known as someone who just hopped on the trend train. I really try to use discernment in everything we do. But yeah, if you don't pivot in any business, you're going to be left behind, because what people liked yesterday, they're not going to like 10 years from now. So if we don't pivot, you're going to crumble. I feel like God is really calling me to show that we can do the restaurant business differently. A lot of restaurants fail because you need a lot of staff to be able to do and accomplish what a restaurant needs. But what if everybody was cross-trained? What if the back of the house knew what to do in the front of the house? And what if the front of the house knew what to do in the back of the house? And what if everybody was tipped out, not just the front of the house team? What if everybody made a fair wage and everybody flourishes with the tips that the customers give? That's what we plan on doing. So as far as the former Pickled Okra building, the number one thing is to highlight the history of the building. That started as a pharmacy, then turned into a deli, then turned into a restaurant. And I think I have always been taught, when you go into a place, you need to honor whoever was there before you, right? So we want to have an ode to the pharmacy and an ode to the deli and an ode to the Pickled Okra, because a lot of people still look at that building and they say the Pickled Okra building. Now, hopefully in the future, it'll be, Lenise's building or Treats With Lenise's building. We're still trying to think if we're going to have a DBA or not. But we want first for people to see we honor the history well. Number two is that is meant to be a community hub. I don't care if you just come in and get a coffee. If you want to sit, you sit as long as you want to. Like, there are some restaurants where you go in, and again, it's because the front of the house depends on how quickly you get up so that they can make money, right? I don't want that feeling. You never go to somebody's house and they're like, when are you leaving? When you just got there, right? Like, it's gonna be a first come, first serve type of area. Like, we're gonna have tables and we're gonna have couches, and it's gonna be a blended environment of, if you need to hurry up and grab something to eat, we have that option. If you wanna grab something to eat and stay a while, we have that option. If you don't want anything to eat and you just want a coffee, but you wanna sit and read a book, we have that option too. Because when you go to somebody's house, it shouldn't be, you have to do this and get out, right? So we want that same feeling, because that place is going to be where community happens, where revival happens, where the Lord meets people who have never heard his name before, right? Where people can see, like, what is so different about this business? People come in here and they're like, oh my goodness, it feels so peaceful in here. It's because I sat on my face for hours and prayed for you guys before you came here. It's not because of the decor, although my best friend Tanya did an amazing job with the decor. It's not because you smell cookies. It's not because, it's because we have welcomed the Holy Spirit to come into this place, to be able to, number one, have our hearts ready to meet and welcome people. And we don't want that feeling to go away when we go into a bigger space. Like, I know everyone is excited when they, when I'm here and they want to talk to me, and I don't want that to leave because we're so big over there, or there's so much more to do. So yeah, we want to, number one, honor the history. Number two, make it a community space. And number three, still make it an opportunity for everyone who walks through the building to feel connected to us. Because what is the point of going to a restaurant and you don't even know who owns it, who runs it, who are the people? Like, I love when people come in here and they're like, Dakota, I saw you on the video on Instagram. I love that, because they feel connected to us. And from that connection, then we can do life with them. Do you understand?
Yeah. If somebody was starting a business today, what's one thing you would tell them to do or not do? Or what advice would you have for somebody starting a new business?
Okay. There is so much advice I can give to someone if they were starting a new business, mistakes that I would tell them not to make. But I think experience is the biggest teacher, right? Like, sometimes we have to make those mistakes so that we value the other side of making the mistake. But number one, I would say get documented. Like, do it right from your foundation, right? Get your LLC, get your EIN, get whatever licenses you need in place. I made that mistake, right, of having businesses without having proper documentation. And God cannot bless anything that you do without integrity. Some of it was just me not knowing, and others was just like, well, I got myself in this predicament now, so like I just got to tough it through. And that's not true. If you are going to have a business and you want it to thrive and be successful, you have to do it right from the start. Now, if you're not doing it right, switch that mentality and start doing it right. Because, like I said, God is not going to bless anything that is not done legally, ethically, or with the right foundation. He gives us things to steward. This business, yes, while it has my name on it, it is the Lord's business. So I cannot take this business and not do what is proper for the business to thrive. So that would be number one, what I would say. If you're going to start a business, start it right. Get documented. Number two is jump. Jump off the cliff. There are plenty of times where I felt like I couldn't do it. I didn't believe in myself. I was believing what other people were saying. Other people don't have the vision that God has given you. And other people will fuel doubt in you because they love you and they care about you and they want you to be secure. But sometimes God is trying to remove security so he can bring his will into place, right? So what if I never jumped and left my accounting job? I wouldn't have this ministry right now. People have come to the bakery as a refuge. There have been so many people who come in here and just need prayer. Don't even leave with a treat. They just need prayer. There are some people that come and share some really hard things with us for whatever reason because they feel like they can. And now it's an opportunity for us to share the gospel, to be the light, to be the salt, and to pour into people. So jump. Don't be afraid. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. So I have to remind myself that daily because I feel like he takes me into deeper and deeper waters. And I'm like, wait, Lord, I'm not ready for that. And he's like, I know you're not, but I'm there. Like, if you just go over there, like, you're going to see me. So just go. So I want to give a third thing, too, where a business is meant to bring financial freedom in some kind of way, shape, or form, right? Like, but it cannot be the only focus. If numbers is your only focus, numbers is what you'll get, and you'll either decline in business because people can tell when you are just looking at them as a dollar sign. Like, have you ever gone somewhere and someone has tried to sell you something and you're like, never mind, I'm walking away, I don't want to. Because you know they're trying to sell you something. Like, it's the reason why, like, none of us want to go to a car dealership because we know that they're going to try to sell us on this, that, and the other. Like, no one likes to be sold to. Like, people just want to be seen. So if you have a product-based business or even a service-based business, see people as people. Like, don't see them as dollar signs. Because if you see them as dollar signs, they know you see them as dollar signs and they'll never come back to you again. Ever, ever. There have been people that walk into this bakery and they're like, oh, I don't see anything that I like. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Is there any way I could pray for you today? I could be upset that they didn't buy anything. I'm like, why would you walk in my bakery and not buy anything? Or I can make it a situation where they see, like, I see you. Thank you for even walking up in here. You walking in here as a small business owner. At least you know I'm here now. Thank you. You know? Just when you're a cheerful giver, God says, oh, that's my heart. And if you operate with his heart and you keep your hand open, he'll continue to fill it, right? But if you close your hand and you say, oh, no, this is just mine and everything is going to go under my reign, then what can God do with that? Like, a lot of people will ask me about the business and I'm like, I'm sorry, it's God. Like, whether you believe him or not, like, this is what I follow. And sometimes I can't give you a practical. Like, I can't give you a practical 1, 2, 3. Like, I really try to be Holy Spirit led when it comes to everything in my business. And sometimes I'm doing things that make no sense. I can't tell you how much free products that I've given away. And could easily be like, man, today we gave away $2,000 worth of this or $200 worth. But you know what? The amount of joy that it brings people, the way that people feel seen, and just because out of operation of just giving, most of the time, those people come back, they bring their people. And so when you're talking about motives, like, it's really easy to get caught up in a business and say, okay, how do I get more sales? Okay, I got to pay rent but when you panic move like that, again, people can see that. And when people can see that, it's such an ick. Like, I hate going in a building and somebody's following me. Like, I just wanted to look at this dress because I saw it was pretty. I may want to buy it, but now I don't because you're like behind me trying to see if I am going to buy it. So now because you made me feel creepy, I'm not going to be here. It's why when people look like I turn around, I try to give people just space to, do you want something or not? And if you don't, that's okay too.
Right. So I think that's awesome. Just
My first internship in culinary school was this restaurant called Timo in Sunny Isles Beach. That restaurant left such an impression on my heart. That restaurant is where I learned how to be cross-trained. Like, even though I was only supposed to be there to be a pastry intern, but I learned every single station, the pizzas, the prep, everything. Everyone there was like, who needs help? You need help? I'll help you. Like, it was very much a family, and they used to have family meal. And what they would do is anything that was like, okay, this is probably close to expiration, instead of throwing it away, they would make a feast. And everybody would sit down before the dinner service and have conversations that, like, that's where the relationship goes. You cannot have a business where people do not know one another and it operate flawlessly. You just can't. If I don't know Joe Schmo and I'm supposed to depend on him to get my coffees to my customers at the right time, and I don't know the person in the back, and I'm like, hey guys, I need this, they're gonna be looking at me like, worry about your job and I do my job. But if we're friends and if we're family, now I'm like, I don't wanna mess up Joe Schmo. So I'm gonna hurry up because we're doing this together and we're a team. Like, building team culture in a business is so important. And another way I learned this was the last accounting firm that I worked for, Fine Point Consulting. They had a huge remote culture. Everyone, most people worked in different states. Yet I felt like I knew everybody because they focused on building relationship, treating their team like I got free stuff from them all the time. I still have stuff. My Stanley Cup is from them. Like, I have jackets and shirts, and like they always like loved on us to say, hey, we understand we can't do this without you, and even though you're states away, like, we love you, we care about you, and we want relationship with you, right? So like, I try to take those experiences that I've had and try to say, okay, these were the moments where I felt most a part of the team. Like, I need to do that same thing for my team, because how can I delegate to someone and they don't even know me? Like, I think now we're coming back around to where people are recognizing as small businesses that, like, your team has to become family. Like, in the corporate world, they say, no fraternizing, no, like, building those kind of relationships like that. That's kind of off limits, but like, it shouldn't be. Because how can I delegate and gain trust and gain respect of my team if I don't first show them, like, I'm human, I bleed red, like, I have hard times. My team has seen me cry. My team has seen me throw a fit. I've had to come and apologize to my team, right? Like, but because of those things, they're like, oh, like, Chef isn't up here. She's right here with us, right? And as a leader, you have to lead beside people, not on top of them, right? Because then they're like, oh, okay, like, she's just the visionary. We all accomplish this goal together. I try to make my team understand that I love them and I don't want them to go anywhere, but even if they decide to go anywhere, how can I be a blessing to you where you decide to go? So like, family meal is where that stems from, where it's like, even Jesus, he tells us to break bread with one another, right? So how can I never have a meal with my team and expect to have something blossom so beautifully? I mean, to me, we try to take biblical principles and say, we're not shoving Christianity in people's faces, right? Like, I think my team all has different levels of relationship with God. But at the same time, I am called to disciple no matter where I am. So I'm going to always extract biblical principles and say, how can I infuse this in different areas of my business so that it's not just all about me and it's all about we, you know?
Right. What does a typical day look like for you?
No day is ever typical in the bakery. But if I had to really nail it down, we are only open 3 days a week for a reason. We have one refrigerator, one freezer, a chest freezer in our bakery display, and a smaller refrigerator up front. Realistically, there is only so much we can stuff into those spaces to be able to operate at the function that we want to. So just about every day, there is some kind of shopping going on. First thing in the mornings, I try to get to all things admin. We are growing our team even now. So thank goodness I don't handle the numbers anymore. And, my husband does such a great job like communicating with customers and stuff. So I really try to focus to just be in delegation mode. Our team works 3 to 4 days a week, each person. So it really depends. Monday through Wednesday is full on prep mode. We are getting ready for the biggest event of the year, which is every weekend. So we are baking, and storing as many of the components of each of our baked goods as we can physically in our freezer, so that day of, we can put all the components together and create all the delicious treats that everybody enjoys. The days that we are open at the bakery, it depends. Sometimes we have a line. Sometimes we have people at each table having communications. Sometimes we have everybody in every seat having communication. Sometimes we're having a dance party in the back and our customers are watching us. Content creation happens every single day. I think Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube have been so important to us, because a lot of people come in saying, oh, I saw you on Facebook. I saw you on Instagram. I saw you on... So that's the only form of marketing that we really do, aside from doing small ads in the paper here and there. But we have grown by word of mouth. So we try to make it very community focused when people come in here. Like I said, we will know you by your name, your order, or how many times you've been in here. And if we haven't, we're going to ask you, how did you hear about us? Is it your first time in here? Really trying to connect. So beginning of the week, prep focused and team focused. End of the week, customer focused, experience focused. To talk to anyone who doesn't even know who we are, doesn't even know we exist. I mean, again, it's very easy as a business owner to become self-centered. Very easy to think how do people not know I'm here? I've been here. People come here all the time. How do they not know? I think I want future customers to know that when you walk in here, whether it's your first time or your 1,000,000th time, we strive to treat you the same. Whether you are a believer or an unbeliever, we strive to treat you the same. Whether you are on the left or you are on the right, we strive to treat you the same. When people walk through our doors, the point is to come and smile at this bakery display. There is still a very big divide in Middle Georgia, and I didn't recognize that until we moved here, because I had no idea Forsyth even existed. Hello, I'm from Hollywood Beach, just north of Miami. Over there, you know what side people are on. It's very clear. Over here, it's a little muddy in the water, right? But there's still very clear divisions. I remember one of my first questions being why are there 2 churches next to each other? Oh, because back in the day, one was colored and one was white. Had no idea that that was a thing, right? And even sometimes now in businesses, although Forsyth is becoming very diverse, and it makes me so happy, I come from an area where when I lived in apartments, my neighbor was white, the above neighbor was Indian, the other neighbor was Chinese, this neighbor, super, South Florida is super diverse, but coming here, it's not so diverse. I remember feeling like the only Hispanic person here, and I was just oh, I can't really get sazon at the grocery store, and if I want something Spanish, all I can get is Mexican food, or, and which is fine, because I think it's okay to be different in an area. But what I love about the bakery is you're going to find people that one's white, one's black, one's Spanish, one's young, one's old, our space is so diverse. And I think it's because people feel like they can come in here no matter who they are. I feel like God is really trying to target Middle Georgia right now, so that there's a shaking that's happening where it's there's no longer room to play Christian. You either are or you aren't. But either way, everyone deserves respect. Everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves to be seen. It's why God draws us near, right? So that we know that we're seen by him. We are known by him, right? And we have to do the same thing to people. If you're homeless, come on in here. If you don't have a penny and you just want to sit down on the couch, come on in here. If you just want a lemonade and nothing else, come on in here. If you want to buy the whole display so that nobody can get anything, come on in here. Like, we are very much so, I just want for whoever walks in here to feel comfort, love, peace, and joy. And for all the people that come in here and they're like, oh my gosh, you're making me feel like I'm so bad. I want one of everything. We tell everyone this. I'm going to make it into a t-shirt. I just already know. There's no sugar or calories in our display, only joy. It makes everybody feel comfortable. It's not the truth, but it makes everybody feel comfortable. So that's our goal, to make people feel comforted, whether we're in this small space or we're in that big space. That is the mission.
Anything else you want to add? Or I think I'm good on questions. So.
Okay. I would just say to anyone who listens to this podcast, the work that you're doing is so important. Like, small businesses are so much more than just businesses trying to get your money. Like, these are local families who, I mean, we live in Forsyth, right? So most of us live in this area. We commune in this area. We support in this area. And not just my small business, but support all small businesses. We have so many restaurants here. Go to each one of them. We have so many boutiques here. Go to each one of them. Even if you just buy a small little trinket, I can't tell you how encouraging that is to a small business owner. Even if you buy the cheapest thing that they have, like, just go and support people, because sometimes we have days of doubt where I'm just like, wow, it's 12 o'clock and we haven't had our first customer yet, right? And every single business goes through that problem where it's like, wow, one day we're slammed and the next day it's like, did anybody remember that we exist? So support your local businesses, because your local businesses are the people who live in your community.